why we as a Center of Analysis of International Relations, we usually have a discussion on foreign policy, on international relations, but this time we decided I decided to speak about the the novel, which was written in 1930s. And the reason I was thinking about that long ago, I did this presentation when I was ambassador in Prague. I received some positive feedback, and I thought that will be relevant before the New Year, before the Christmas season, to leave aside foreign policy problems, because as you know, we have now a lot of problems, and now the events are ongoing in Lachin and in some other places. So more in a relaxed atmosphere, to speak about this novel, which really has several important political subtopics. Topics of the multiculturalism, topics about the inter-ethnic marriage, topic about Azerbaijan independence, topic about Nazism, and you will see so many related topics. And why I put in the presentation title Personal Connection. So I will be speaking in a moment about the main protagonist of this novel, which has some connection with me, with my family. So that's the reason I have this in the passion for this novel. So Ali and Nino, it's the novel about Azerbaijan. It covers roughly the period from the 1900 to 1920. So it's the period when Azerbaijan was under Russian Empire and 2 years of its independence. Interesting, it was published in 1937 in Vienna in the German language. Authorship of the author, still it's disputed. Book was written under pseudonym Kurban Said, which is quite Muslim, Azerbaijani name. But it was registered by the Baroness Elfriede Ehrenfels from Austria. So officially Kurban Said, it's the nickname of this lady. However, the mainstream idea, mainstream authorship, belongs to another author who was writing under nickname, pen name Esad Bey, also Muslim Turkic name, Arabic name. But the author was a Jew who was born in Kiev, but grew up in Azerbaijan. His name Lev Nissenbaum. So he and Elfriede, Baroness, they were in a romantic relationship. So it looks like because he was in Vienna at the time when Austria became part of Nazi Germany after Anschluss, so he couldn't register his name and couldn't claim the authorship because of his Jewish identity. And for this reason, Elfriede, she decided to go forward and register this novel. But there is also another theory. It's very popular in Azerbaijan. That's this novel written by Yusuf Vazir Chemenzemenli. He was quite a well-known writer in Azerbaijan. Study of authorship, it's, I think, one of the best studies, a bit of drama and the thriller. It's done by Betty Blair, and I participated in this study, contributed a bit to the study because of my personal relationship I will be speaking about. So this, the Betty Blair, she was editor of the magazine Azerbaijan International. Now it's defunct. It's not published anymore. But the latest issue, this one, and it was issued several years in 2011. So Betty Blair, she believes But Yusuf Çemenzemenli has written the main body of the novel, but I will be speaking about him. He was in Paris as Azerbaijani emigre, but he decided to return to Azerbaijan, to Soviet Azerbaijan in 1926. And he abandoned the idea of publishing it under his name. So he left somewhere material in emigre circles in France or in Germany. Somehow it got into hands of Lev Nissenbaum, and he eventually decided to publish. And Lev Nissenbaum was quite interesting person. As I said, his origin was Jewish, but he was fascinated and he was very attached to the Azerbaijani culture, to Arabic culture, and he accepted Islam. So I will be speaking about him too. So what we know about Yusuf Çemenzemenli, well-known Azerbaijani statesman and writer, born in Shusha, where my ancestry also from Shusha. So he was engineer by education. His first pen name was Ali Khan. So there is certain parallels with the Ali and Nino from the novel. So his first name, pen name was Ali Khan, exactly as the main protagonist of Ali and Nino. He began diplomatic career in independent Azerbaijan, just like Ali in the novel. And he was representative of Azerbaijan Democratic Republic in Ukraine. And when he was just about to open diplomatic representation in Istanbul, at that time it was called Constantinople. But when this Azerbaijan independence ceased to exist because of the Bolshevik takeover. And he lived in France until 1926 and decided to return to the Soviet Azerbaijan. He was quite well known in 1930s. He has written a lot of the essays, articles, but unfortunately he was accused of the anti-Soviet activities by the Soviet authorities, and he was exiled to Siberia, and where he died in the Stalin's Gulag in 1943. This is what we know. So, but what's the mystery about Asad Bey? What we know that the guy who published this book and in Austria. We have his grave, and his grave look at the Qibla, to the Mecca. This is in Positano, Italy, probably the only Muslim grave in that old cemetery. And this cemetery, I mean, you can visit, if you go in Positano, you will find it. And you see this turban on his grave. So that's the guy who was basically behind the Ali and Nino. He was born in Kiev, but his parents moved to Baku. His mother committed suicide, and she was Bolshevik, his mother. And father was the oil tycoon. Oil magnate. He was quite a rich man. When the Azerbaijan ceased to be independent, they escaped first in Turkey, and he claimed that he converted to Islam in Istanbul in 1921. He lived in Germany and has written a lot of novels. He has written about Stalin, about Nicholas II. He was quite prolific writer. And eventually he moved to Vienna because in 1933 Hitler came to power. And when he had to escape Vienna, because, as I said, after Anschluss there was also Nazi regime, he ended up in Italy. He was just about to write the biography of Mussolini, and he died in 1942. And now we know from it's called Burger disease, which is typical for the people with Jewish descent. So he posed himself as a son of wealthy Muslim oil tycoon, and his father was quite wealthy, but his wealth, of course, when he moved to, first they moved actually to France, and then from France to Germany, where his father died. And he died, I mean, Nazis came after him. Probably he was executed in some of the concentration camps. He was rich, but his wealth depleted by the time when he was by mid-30s. And he wrote a number of novels and historic books. Also, what is known that Lev Nissenbaum was a bit of plagiarist. So he was copying a lot of things from other novels, from other books. Very interesting research written by Tom Rice about him. It's the book called Orientalist, very interesting book. So that's him in typical Caucasian Azerbaijani dress. And that's his Baronessa Ehrenfels. So, as we know that his main topic of Ali and Nino, it's the love between Ali and Nino. Ali is Azerbaijani man and Nino is Georgian woman. And there was some of, in early 20th century, there were some couples, Azerbaijani, Georgian mixed couples. And if you look at, and why the idea came that Yusuf Chaman-Zemenli was also somehow put hands into the initial material. First, because his pen name was Ali Khan, but also Yusuf Chaman-Zemenli lived with this couple, Alexandra and Ali Pasha. They had daughter Tamara, and if you look at the novel, we have not Alexandra, but Nino, name is a bit different. But they had a daughter also under the name Tamar. So and here comes my connection, because the people who you see, it's my great-grandfather, Ali Pasha, and my great-grandmother, Alexandra. And this is my grandmother. Now, this is the picture. When Betty Blair found this connection, she found where lived Yusuf Chaman-Zemenli, where Lev Nissenbaum lived in Baku. She also found that this couple was the neighbors of Yusuf Chaman-Zemenli, and she got in touch with me, and I sent her this photo from our family archive. Oops. So this is indeed my great-grandmother was Georgian from the village Sameba in Georgia. It's on the way to Batumi in the historic region called Guria. And that's my great-great-grandfather. So he was the father, and he was killed in 1905 during the first Russian Revolution. One of my relatives in Georgia was quite known person, the Sulikosh Genti. He was also with some literary connection. He wrote script for the famous movie during Soviet time called Father of Son. It's very anti-war movie, well known in the Soviet Union. So Nissenbaum was quite Orientalist, and when we look at his novels, and not only this novel, Ali and Nino, he was always fascinated by culture which existed in Azerbaijan, and he was really attracted to the Muslim culture, Muslim traditions. If you see, when he was in Germany, he wrote, "I dreamed of the Arabic edifices every night. I do know that it was the most powerful, most formative feeling of my life." So his identification with Islam and with Azerbaijan, the Orient, he wrote, it was very strong, and we can see this topic across his novels. So for me, when I was digging into this issue, was indeed interesting to see what's going on in the Middle East and in the Caucasus, to see this sort of the synergy and cohabitation, which was quite normal at that time in Baku. This tradition, when we claim that we have tradition of multiculturalism, some people saying it's another Azerbaijani propaganda or the official narratives, but I found this tradition comes not only through independent Azerbaijan, but it comes through a century-long tradition in Azerbaijan before we even became independent. So one of his friend, classmate, Zuleyha Asadullayeva, she was daughter of Muslim oil tycoon. He published memoirs. They claimed that her brother, Asad, his name Asad, he was, they were kind of blood brothers. I mean, in terms, they exchanged the bloods. And that means they were very close friends. And that for the reason why Lev accepted this name Asad Bey as his first pen name, because first pen name was Asad Bey. And then he moved to Germany, to Turkey, and in 1921 he wrote that he was converted to Islam. He accepted Islam as an official religion. Some people say that he used it as a cover against, I mean, in Nazi Germany, generally in Germany in 1920s with the rising anti-Semitism, he used this conversion as a sort of protection. But anyway, and he was basically secular person, non-religious person. But the fact remains that when he was dying in Italy, also under Mussolini, he asked him to be buried according to the Muslim traditions. The idea that now sometimes if we speak about this sort of multiculturalism, these ideas was quite prevalent in Azerbaijan at that time. On the photo you can see Azerbaijani well-known oil magnate and philanthropist Zeyn Alabdin Tagiev. And this picture, and he was devoted Muslim. He Haji, that means he made pilgrimage to Mecca. But this is the photo of his family. No veils, European instruments. This was typical atmosphere of people, not of course the poor class, but middle and upper class. Very interesting novel. We have also research about the Baku of that time, about Haji Zeyn Alabdin Tagiev. It's written by Manav Suleymanov, and it's published in 2 languages, in Azerbaijani, in Russian. I'm not sure the English version exists, but anyone, if somebody reads these 2 languages, they can find this. I think it's the best book about the Baku of the beginning of 20th century. And here also my personal connection, because Manav Suleymanov is brother of my grandmother. So Tom Rice, when he's doing study about Azerbaijan, about Lev Nissenbaum, he wrote only in the Caucasus, the Lev he forget the stigma of being a Jew, and the most cosmopolitan and tolerant place in the Caucasus was Azerbaijan's capital, Baku. So that's why he was so attracted to Azerbaijan. In the novel, we can see a lot of subtopics related to this cohabitation between Muslims, Christians, and Jews. And right in the Baku, in the same novel, also we see these topics very, highlighted in the novel. Old city with the Islamic architecture and the outer town with the European architecture. So that was the legacy of Baku of the beginning of 20th century. And in the novel, also Lev, he was writing about the merging with worlds, at least about the possible cohabitation of these worlds. So quite interesting, in 2016, the movie was, Azerbaijan ordered the movie. It was also quite multicultural movie, because main protagonist was played by the Palestinian actor, and the Nino was played by the Spanish actress. It's a nice movie. I would say I would give 9 stars out of 10 or 8 stars out of 10. And so it was done in 2016 by the British Director of Indian Muslim Heritage. And that's the Baku which we inherited from our ancestors. So you see old city and new city. So that's basically end of my presentation. I did it shorter because of the, in our event in Qatar, the reception, yes. Anyway, so I thought that from this novel we can find some of the topics which is relevant for today's geopolitical environment around Azerbaijan. The possibility of peace in our region, not only in our region, but in a wider Middle East. But what we need is indeed genuine respect for each other's culture, genuine respect for the territorial integrity, first of all, and interest for mutual cooperation and coexistence.